Hola, ¿cómo estáis? Today we're going to have a look at the second part of imperativos for A2. Okay, imperativos are commands in the Spanish language, and you saw imperativos A1, positive affirmative commands for tú and usted in the first semester. Today we're going to look at the negative commands and some of the positive commands in usted and ustedes. So today we're going to focus on usted, negative and positive, vosotros, negative, tú, negative, and ustedes, positive and negative. So as you can see, in bold, all these commands do use the present subjunctive, which is a new tense altogether. But we're going to use it in ex-beginners, or beginners, We're going to use it in beginners to revise the present tense, which we did in the first semester, and intermediate to both revise the present tense and to learn the present subjunctive. So, as you know, the present subjunctive, it's conjugated by adding what we call opposite endings. AR does E endings, as you can see in this slide, and ER and IR does A endings, okay? If we have stem changing verbs, okay, the AR and ER verbs could keep that stem changing, as you can see, apart from the endings, except in nosotros and vosotros. But the IR verbs could also have a change in nosotros and vosotros. So you can see the prefiero, okay, goes to I, in nosotros, prefiramos, prefiráis. Dormir goes to you, in nosotros and vosotros, and pedir stays the same. Pidamos, pidáis, okay? So the IR stem changing verbs that we learned are a little bit special in these. And then you have to be very careful with the verbs that have a yo, that is irregular, okay? So these verbs are actually going to conjugate the present subjunctive from the yo form, removing the o, and then adding the endings of the ending of the verb. So ER verbs, A endings, AR verbs, E endings, okay? So be a little bit careful with these verbs that have the yo irregular form, because they don't do tena, they say tenga, they don't do kaya, they say kaila, okay? So again, take your time with this conjugation and make sure you revise it well. I'm going to send you 2 exercises at the end of the slide, so you'll see where to revise and where to learn this in English if you want an English explanation of it, written English explanation of it. Finally, we have 6 verbs that are totally irregular, and you have them here: sea, 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 seamos, seáis, sean, estar, esté, esté, estés, estemos, estéis, estén, ir, vaya, vaya, vayas, vayamos, vayáis, vayan, haber, haya, hayas, haya, hayamos, hayáis, hayan, ver, vea, veas, vea, veamos, veáis, vean, and finally, saber, sepa, sepas, sepa, sepamos, sepáis, sepa. And this amazing infographic comes from Manuela Aparicio from her blog Lenguaje y otras luces, which I recommend you all the time for everything. So let's look at examples, okay, and remind us ourselves about a few things that we learned in the first semester. So in the present subjunctive, the usted command would be hable, coma, beba, disfrute, pase, traduzca. If we use a pronoun, like a direct object pronoun, we'd have to attach it at the end because it's an affirmative command, and it'd be háblelo, cómala, bébalas, and tradúzcalos. And if we use a reflexive, we also attach it at the end, lávese, levántese. This is for the affirmative commands. With ustedes, hablen, coman, beban, disfruten, pasen y traduzcan, and the same mechanism. Háblenlo, cómanla, bébanlas, traduzcanlos. And reflexives, lávense, levántense. If we go to negatives, then we just use the present subjunctive. So tú, no hables, no comas, no bebas, no disfrutes, no pases, no traduzcas. And with the direct object, it just goes to the regular position in before the conjugated verb and the no, after the no. So no lo hables, no la comas, no las bebas, no los traduzcas, and no te laves, no te levantes. Vosotros, no habléis, no comáis, no bebáis, no disfrutéis, no paséis, no traduzcáis, with pronouns, no lo habléis, no la comáis, no la veáis, no las bebáis, perdón, no los traduzcáis, no os lavéis y no os levantéis. Usted, no hable, no coma, no beba, no disfrute, no pase, no traduzca, and no lo hable, no la coma, no las beba, no los traduzca, no se lave, no se levante. And finally, no hablen, no coman, no beban, no disfruten, no pasen, no traduzcan, the ustedes negative commands. And with pronouns, no lo hablen, no la coman, no las beban, no los traduzcan, and no se laven, no se levanten. Where do we practice this? In 2 places. You can go to the same website that we sent you to in the first semester, which you have right there, or you can access your book, okay, the book that we call Practice Makes Perfect. Or you can go to the book called Practice Makes Perfect, to the third part, okay, called the imperative, the subjunctive, the future, etc. And you can go to chapter 19, okay. Chapter 19 works with all the commands all the way through, so you can find a reminder of, sorry, my computer just froze. So you can find a reminder about how to work with the positive tú and vosotros commands, and then the negative ones are here too. If you want to have a look at the present subjunctive, you can also go to chapter 20 over here. And as you know, in this book, you always have the answers at the back. Okay, so thank you very much and good luck.